Fire Chief, you here? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. A resolution to appoint appointment of the board treasurer. Is there any discussion on that?
Yeah, what I need for the bank, basically, that we memorialize in the minutes, that, so I guess it's probably best just to have a motion that we will designate the Lake Forest Bank and Trust as the depository of the funds for our district, and that Dan Rogers, Carl Snoblin, and Tammy Bryant are all authorized signatories to those accounts.
Okay. Would you like to make a motion?
I will make that motion.
Second it. Roll call vote. Trustee Snoblin?
Aye.
Trustee Grum?
Aye.
Trustee Rogers? Aye.
Just need your signatures on this.
Okay. Consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting for August 14th, 2017, as amended by John.
Make a motion to accept the minutes. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, public comment. We allow 5 minutes for the public. If you have any comments, we welcome you to address the board at this time. Any comments?
Just Ed Whitehead, my standing offer, if you two guys want to make a public apology for actions and lies to the community, we are available to make that happen on camera for you.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am. Please identify yourself.
Erica Abayhan, that's A-B-A-Y-H-A-N, 13 years in Knollwood.
Okay.
And this day of days, 9/11, where we think to our first responders. And I think about the most as the hell that they had to go through to get our elected officials to take care of their health care. And that just, irritates me that our elected officials cannot do the right thing without a lot of public pressure. And the fact that it is 9/11 and we still have to show up and say to you guys, and we have to keep saying to Aaron Lawler, we want to keep our fire department. Aaron Lawler doesn't live here. Aaron Lawler doesn't pay taxes. We do. And the people have repeatedly told you guys that we want our fire department to stay, and you continue to not listen. And that just stinks. That we have to keep coming back and saying the same damn thing to you guys over and over.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right. Hearing none, we'll close the public comment section. I have a couple quick things prior to moving on. One, there was an article in the paper where IDOT was discussing this bridge out here and what was going to go on with it. So I called IDOT and talked to the lady who's in charge, I guess, of the project that's going to occur, which is the pump station. Her name is Kimberly Murphy, and I asked her what the long and short-term plans were for the bridge and the interchange. And she said, or she told me that the pump station was a project that was going to happen, and it would be happening rather soon, in the next year or so, and that was the only project on board. And I asked her if she had any projection as to the redevelopment of the entire bridge. And she indicated it was approximately a $40 million project, and that she would anticipate in maybe 3 to 5 years they would address it again, meaning see if there was any money even for drawings to begin the project. But realistically, she said she would not anticipate anything being done in the next 10 years, and probably looking into the 10 to 20 year range on that, since they had put a bunch of money into the rebuilding of the deck several years ago. So that's as much of an update as I have, that they're going to be working on the pump station, but that's it. And in today's dollars, to redo the entire bridge and the interchange is approximately a $40 million project.
Dan, for the people that don't know where the pumps are, could you just tell them so they can have a feeling of where that project will be happening?
I don't know exactly where the pumps are and where they're going to be put. I didn't inquire into that. It was just the interchange that I was checking into.
The pumps currently are on the southeast corner, and I believe they're going to be on the northeast corner.
Okay? I don't know that.
Oh, I'm sorry, of the intersection of 170, or of 176 and 41. Right, they're right on the little corner of the Now's property, a little small brick building. I believe they're gonna build a new one across on the north side of 176.
Okay, so that is as much of an update as we have on that.
And the last update we had from them as well was the day that they have the word go, that they have funding, it's 8 years from that day
What's that, on the pump station?
on the whole interchange.
Oh, she said that's not even in the pipeline at this point.
Right, but even,
Sorry. She said first they would have to get funding for the drawings,
correct,
you know, to do the drawings and do the actual engineering part of it. And once that happened, then they would go out to bid. And that would probably be another, you know, however many years. But since their budget had just been reduced again, you know, she said the only thing that she could see making any changes to any of this would be if the federal government got into a massive, you know, infrastructure that we've been hearing nationally on the news. But, you know, as we all know, what comes out of Washington, you know, I don't think I would stake any, I don't think I'd stake any of my time on that. All right, that's about it on that. We'll move on to the attorney's report, please.
I have nothing for the board.
All right, chief's report.
I just have a couple things. Plumbing issue that I notified you guys about earlier in the month. The problem that we're having is the drains that are in the bathrooms that are right in front of the toilets, water never goes down there. So what it was a dry trap. That's what created the smell throughout the building. So we've added it to our weekly checklist to go ahead and dump a bucket of water down there once a week. So there is no plumbing issue other than in this bathroom down here. The P-trap either shifted when the building settled, or it was never installed correctly. There's actually gravel that's coming in from the drop down of the drain to the P-trap. However, they don't think it's going to be an issue at this time, but if it does develop to be an issue in the future, there's potential we might have to jack up the floor with a jackhammer and go down and replace that. But at this point, we're good with status quo. Driver's license abstracts that we've been talking about. Before I submit these, I'm going to need a check from the board for $480 to go ahead and submit to the state to have these abstracts run for the entire department. I'm also going to go ahead and need to get your driver's licenses and birthdays so I can go ahead and add these to the forms. When I go ahead and send these in, we're looking at running, I'll get a sheet, I'll get a blank sheet for you if you can write it down.
You bet.
I can just type it in, but the whole department's ready to go other than for one other individual down here and then the 3 of you.
Okay.
But that's ready to go. We're going to be running 40 of them. They say it's about a 5 to 7 day turnaround time, business day.
Perfect, thank you.
For that. I figure it's easier for me to send it in all at once for the
I
whole
didn't know
entire
you could do that.
department.
That's
I didn't
excellent.
either. I was able to look into it, and we are able to send it in all at once and go ahead and get the results of those back. Like I said, it's going to be approximately $480 for 40 of them at $12 a piece.
Probably should do a motion on approving the payment.
Okay. Since it's not on the agenda, we can still approve that, correct? John?
Yes, yeah, it's in the nature of payment bill, that's fine.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the payment of $480 for payment of the driver's license abstracts for the state of Illinois. Is that the exact amount, John, or do you want me to leave it a little more vague than that?
I mean, you can leave it vague unless somebody else pops up, but we're looking at running 40 total at $12 a piece, so it would be $480. I mean, if you want to
Can I
not
leave
to
it without a
exceed
dollar
500.
amount, leave it a little more vague?
We're doing not to exceed
Not to,
500.
did you say not to exceed 500? Okay, so the motion's not to exceed $500 in payments to proceed with driver's license abstracts for all those in the department. And a second.
A second.
Roll call vote. Trustee Snowden.
Aye.
Trustee Grum.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers. Aye.
We received, or myself and retired Chief Kaczynski received 4 tickets each, VIP tickets to the opening of the Sheraton at Green Oaks for September 27th at 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock that evening. I will not be able to attend, and Deputy Chief Kaczynski is retired, so if you guys would like to use these tickets, there should be 8 of them total to attend that. You'd be more than welcome to use those. In regards to the damage that was done to Utility 44 by Light Tower 4, kind of an update on that. The hitch on the light tower has been replaced, now has a pintle hitch instead of a regular hitch.
Excellent.
I'm still waiting to hear back from Lieutenant Flater as far as whether or not Mavis will cover the cost of the damage to the tailgate on our vehicle, seeing as it was the second time that it's happened. As well as there was also damage at one point done to Libertyville's pickup truck with the same issue. Problem being is that the back end of that is weighted completely too heavy for that hitch, and it kept popping off. It's been rectified at this point. We're just waiting on to find out if they're going to cover the damage done to the vehicle. Last thing I have is the unfortunate house fire we had the other morning, last Monday morning. Came in at about 6:30 in the morning. Unfortunately, the fire had a significant head start on us, where when the crews pulled up, we had a house that was, I'll go ahead and say, fully involved. We went defensive right away. We ended up transporting one of the residents to the local hospital. And it is still currently under investigation, or the investigative report has not come out by the State Fire Marshal's office, as well as Lieutenant Issel, who is the lead investigator on that fire. Follow-up to that, there were some questions in regards to Libertyville's engine being the first one there, as well as in front of the house. If a gentleman would like to look at it, the difference in on-scene time between our engine and Libertyville's engine was 2 seconds. They literally followed each other in. They just happened to be the closer station at 0.4 miles versus our 1.5 mile response. So, in all theory and reality, they should have beat us in by a couple minutes versus a couple seconds. Crews worked very, very well together, not only from Libertyville, our crews, Lake Bluff, Lake Forest, in extinguishing this fire. And it was a great job done by all. We had a couple issues that we had to deal with. One being a hydrant that was found to be broken once our guys went to go ahead and open it. It would be nice if the county put a little more effort into the infrastructure around here as far as maintaining these hydrants and whatnot.
Is that something you'd like either us or you follow up with the Department of Public Works and request more service on those, that they provide us a once a year, I don't know, I'm going to say a certificate that they've checked all our hydrants and they're all working properly? Is that something you'd like us to follow up on?
If you can get them to do that would be great.
Okay. I'm happy to call Lake County Public Works and find out what their schedule is, and if you can tell me which hydrant it was, or are they aware of which hydrant it is
They are.
now?
They were notified that morning. I believe at this point it is fixed. It did not hamper or hinder our firefighting
Okay.
that morning. However, it would have just made things a lot easier if that fire hydrant hadn't broken when we went to go open it. But that, I believe, has been rectified at this point. As far as them testing it, flow testing it, I know in my full-time job, our Public Works Department goes out and maintains them yearly, which is the responsibility of Lake County Public Works, is to maintain those hydrants. And as far as flow testing, they pay for a private company to come in and flow test them once a year. I do not know what Lake County does.
Okay.
But we did have good water the entire time, other than that hydrant. We did not blow any mains, so life was good as far as that goes.
I have one little comment on, or a comment on the fire. I saw the fire going on. Obviously, I was right up the road, and the first call that I made was in the afternoon to you, John. And to be quite honest with you, I don't care who got there first. I'm grateful for absolutely everybody who showed up, and the only question I asked you was if everybody was safe.
Right.
That being said, I will tell you that I was extraordinarily troubled to have 4 different residents call me and tell me that a specific resident was at the fire early and decided to turn politics into this. And I find that really horribly offending that my name or anybody on the board was brought up at a fire scene when the only thing that's really important is life. I commend you and everybody who was there. I saw one of you guys and asked them if there was any need to have help with traffic control, because that's about in a fire about what you want me doing, is telling a car to go the next block down. So I thank everybody for their hard work, and if there's anybody from any other departments that you would like this board to write and say thank you to, I would be more than happy to say thank you to anybody that you think needs to be thanked. But I was really upset to find that there was any politics involved in this, and you can, I don't care who showed up, I'm glad everybody showed up, and it was a horrendous fire. So thank you and everybody who showed up.
And just so you know, in the last couple days, we have gone back with the residents and attempted, due to the structure and the instability of it, the whole south end of the structure is not safe for anybody to enter. However, there were some family heirlooms and jewelry that were in the north end of the house that we were able to go and retrieve for the family. It's a customer service and job that we do, and I felt it was necessary for us to go ahead and do that.
Well, thank you again.
Other than that, I think that's all I have at this point.
Okay, moving on, treasurer's report. How's things going with your new treasurer?
She's doing well. We apologize for not being at the meeting today, but she had prior engagement. But we've met 4 times. We've done bill paying twice. We've done payroll once. We've done month-end closing once. So she's coming along quite well. So I think you'll be seeing her giving the show starting next week. Excellent. Saying that, with the bank balances, the Lake Forest Bank capital is at $36,369.52. The checking account is at $98,675.77. The reserve account is at $273,712.56. And the checking account, the older trust checking account is at $26,763.73. I did get a whole bunch of the old paychecks that were floating around out there finally cleared. So thank you.
I think between the 2 of them, they had about 32 of them.
That's a nice problem to have. So that's a total in checking and savings of $435,550.63, which includes the $29.05 in cash. So moving on then.
Do you want a motion for that now?
No, because the budget tracking goes along together with that. Budget, we are a third of the way through the year, so things are about where we expected. We've gotten a little bit over 50% of our revenues. In fact, we just did have another tax payment earlier this week, which wouldn't be reflected here because that's in the month of September. Just a couple of things to call out. This is a small one, but the fire prevention and inspection is $1,000 in that, but we're at about 46%. We should be about 33%. So just want to be a little careful on that.
Carl, one of the ones I had questions on, and maybe you'll get to this, maybe this is on your list as far as ones to touch on, is the motor vehicles.
Yeah, that exactly. I'll hit that in just a minute.
Okay.
District contractual is about 50%, but that's normal because there are some bumps in that. That doesn't flow smoothly throughout the year. speak. I did mention the fire training is a little odd because it was negative, and that's because we had we had a check out there from NIPSTA that turns out we didn't actually owe the money, they never cashed it, so it flowed back yet. Insurance liability, obviously paid that all for, that's why it's at 99%. And then, yes, motor vehicles were just about 42%.
So I have a feeling that there were bills that were paid out of this year's budget that were earmarked for last year's out of capital.
I am not aware of that, but that is possible, certainly. The ones that we knew of, I did put into an accrual account so that they didn't hit this year's budget. But I can give you a breakdown if you'd like.
Please, because it should have been the ladder, the engine, should have all come out of last year's budget.
Yeah, and so for the things that I was aware of, we did do that.
Then there's no possible way that we can be at this amount.
Okay, I'll get you a
Please,
breakdown.
thank you.
So that pretty much does it for the budget. So yes, Don, we give a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second, roll call vote. Trustee Crum.
Aye.
Trustee Snowman.
Aye.
Trustee Rogers, aye.
And the second half on the warrants, the checks to approve, and pretty much the stuff there. Yeah. We had a total of checks of $74,750.08. We had the background testing for the accurate date of the sprinklers
And the other one.
let's see. Ace Hardware was a vehicle cleaner and wax, so I think that's the typical right before the 4th of July for the parade. Air One is hydro testing repairs for SCBA versus some parts for the chainsaw. Comcast is the cable route, garbage, impact networking that's for the big printer up here. We have to pay, it's under contract and we get all of the consumables for free, but we have to pay shipping. Right. So that's just the shipping. TDS is phone and internet, countryside is dispatch, payroll for station staffing. Lake Forest Bank is the mortgage, and there's a $5 service charge. ComEd Electric, American Gas is oxygen. Chicago Tribune was for the prevailing wage notice that we published. City is the Visa statement, which we'll look at the detail in a minute. Public Risk Fund is the quarterly workers' comp. Costco flags, the building flags. Master Truck and Trailer. I'm not sure exactly what the specific one on that one is, John, do you remember? For the master Truck and Trailer.
I was looking at that, but maybe.
It says $50.
Is that the hitch?
Might be part of the hitch.
Obviously, Bristol is legal fees. Wex Bank is fuel. Village of Libertyville is the ambulance contract. Commercial gas is obviously utilities. Backpack working, again, some shipping on consumables. And then we did get group TDS and Comcast just overlap, so we got 2 each this month. So that is the checks, and as far as the charges, oh, money.
The Jimmy John's Dunkin' Donuts was from the morning of that rainstorm that we had, where we had guys that were here for probably close to 36 hours. So I bought them lunch and some breakfast with that. They can come out of my Chiefs fund, that's fine.
And then the Home Depot.
Home Depot was,
Blue floor.
yeah, blue for
Okay.
the floor. And then Jacqueline's Flowers was for a retired member's funeral,
Okay.
where we sent flowers. You can go and take that on my account as well.
Okay.
And then the ticket printing, that was for the association that sponsored for the Love for Land event, for the tickets for it, which has been reimbursed in cash. Yeah.
Okay. And Amazon was detergent and pens and cleaning and office supplies. And Speed Tech was ice for the Chief's car. So, with that, can we get a motion to approve the outstanding invoices?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call vote, trustee Grum,
Aye.
trustee Snowden,
Aye.
trustee Rogers, aye. Station lighting update with, I guess you jumped onto this one. No, Mike wasn't here, so.
I received a text message from Mike. He will have those lights, hopefully done within this week.
Have you
Just
put
between-
any of them up or tried any of
Between
them?
him being out of town and his work schedule, trying to arrange it to get it down here to just get it done. It's been a little bit of an issue, but I received a text from him saying that he's hoping this week they'll be done.
Excellent. Encouraged to see how they look. Update on joint services with Lake Bluff, nothing to report as of today.
Chief, just one question. I know a couple of meetings ago, I questioned our response to East Lake Bluff on ambulance calls. And you said that that was a dispatch error and that
Correct.
you were gonna have that corrected. I know we continued to do that for a while. Has that been
It
resolved?
has been rectified. The issue and the problem that came up was this. Back in April, they had a significant amount of their membership was out of town. And Chief Graff had asked us to cover for them and respond on all calls, which I had agreed to at that point. We asked them, once those people got back into town, to switch it back over. There was an issue with Glenview. I've been working with Brent Reynolds, who's their director, in getting that resolved. And as of 3-4 weeks ago, it has been resolved.
Update on investigating contractual services and proposals, trustee Grum.
I know that, you know, those letters went out. Lake Forest and Libertyville are both in the process of developing proposals, and they've also spoke to each other. So we have not received anything yet, so we're still just waiting for those to come in.
Yeah, I saw on Libertyville's website the memo in preparation for the public safety meeting, that they were, for Chief Karani, that they were talking about that, and that they mentioned that the Libertyville and Lake Forest are working together on a joint proposal.
I know they have
Are-
spoken together.
Are you aware of
I think that's a possibility that they're looking at, just as they are looking at other possibilities to do separately. Which is all we ask for, is what they, you know, would propose or what they would consider.
Yeah, so that was interesting, that
I haven't even seen that.
yeah.
My only issue with that is there's no competitive bid process then.
Well, we're really not out for a competitive bid. I mean, right now, we're just asking for each one if they have an idea.
No, and I understand that, but if we're looking to get our best bang for the buck, when you have two different entities that you can compare them to versus the two of them going in together, there's nothing to compare that to.
Right.
Well, it's not like you can open it up statewide. I mean, there's only so many
No, but you can go
departments.
ahead and say that them collectively together, that they can't bid on it or submit a proposal together because there's nothing to compare it to.
I guess I'll just say, let's see what comes
Yeah,
about.
let's just see what comes out.
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't even, what Carl just told me is, first time I've even heard, I haven't seen a memo, so nothing's been given to me. Non-agenda items. Gentlemen, anything you have that's not on the agenda? Mr. Attorney, anything you have for us?
No?
No? Nominations, resignations, terminations of members of Norwood Fire Department. John, anything to report?
At this time, I do have one individual who's been placed on administrative leave pending a legal matter being resolved.
Okay. And that's all I've got. May I have a motion to adjourn at 6:59?
I so move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.